Hi everybody, welcome to Season 4, Episode 26 of The Hard Truth Inside the Football Industry Podcast. With me, Philip Ideson, and Darragh MacAnthony, Chairman and owner of Peterborough United. And we're recording here Thursday afternoon here in the States. And news about the FA and the FA Cup came through this morning, so we are going to get to that. But before we do, let's talk.
We'll title the episode "Civil War Football."
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, let's we got to talk.
People can see what's coming now for when we talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk. We'll talk Posh and Bradford, obviously, for our fan base, because obviously, you know, that's kind of what's most important. So where do we start?
So we start with a roller coaster for you, I think.
Of 7 days.
Yeah, we have Port Vale 3-0, Oxford.
Yeah.
I mumble the score for that one.
Yeah.
Then you beat Fleetwood 4-1.
So obviously we played Port Vale like 48 hours after Wembley. I was amazed how good we were. We battered them. It was 3-0. I think it was adrenaline. Mm-hmm. You know, I think then the adrenaline ran out at the end of the week.
Yeah.
We went to Oxford. The first 15 minutes, we should have been 3-0 up. We've missed, you know, as bad as the result turns out, we've missed absolute 3 sitters. I think Joel's had a sitter, header 5 yards out. Ricky's had 2 sitters 5 yards out. Mm-hmm. And then we just completely, I think everything in the space of 7. Yeah, I think it was 6 days. That was 6 days. It was our third game in 6 days. And I just think we hit a fucking wall. Yeah. And I think it was a perfect opportunity for an Oxford to play us. And that's not indicative of who we are. You know, we were just spent. And then, you know, I think it was 3-0 at half times and 3-0 for the manager made changes. And it was just one of them days where I said to the manager afterwards, take that, bury it at the training ground on the floor and don't look back. Yeah. That's not indicative of the season. That's not who we are. Fair play to Oxford. They needed to win. It was a big win for them. Yeah, awful. And then obviously, you know, you're thinking, oh, crikey, okay, we got another one on Tuesday. You're playing a team fighting for their life. Fleetwood score after 20 seconds from kickoff.
You didn't even touch it, did you?
Didn't touch it. Yeah. I'm watching this guy run 60 fucking yards through like 7 of our players and shooting from outside the box. Mm-hmm. And you're like, and then they have a penalty to go 2-0 up. Mm-hmm. So now I'm getting agitated.
And that was only, 7 minutes in was the penalty, something like that?
Listen, you can hit the wall and then you can like fucking shit the bed.
Yeah.
And like at that point, I'm like, I'm frustrated. But fair play. The goalie saved the penalty, and then we dominated the game. I think it's really funny. Like against Oxford, we had 70% possession, lost 5-0. You know, possession is not everything, as they say in football, but the way we play, Fleetwood, we control the game. But the problem was every time Fleetwood went in our box, they looked fucking dangerous, because I just think there's a lot of players playing on fumes. And it's not making excuses, because I said to my wife was saying to me afterwards, Jesus, you've won, but again, they had a penalty again to go 2-1 up, another penalty, which they missed. And I said, I honestly think there's players in there who have just hit a brick wall. Mm-hmm. And I said, if you go from Sunday night at Wembley to all the way to Fleetwood, I think it's 9 days, 4 games in 9 days. And that's a lot. And it's like, you got heavy legs, you got adrenaline's run out, you know, we're dragging our fucking arse. But we won the game 4-1. And truth be known, it could have been 7-8-1 or it could have been 7-8-4 if you take the penalties and whatever else. So we just weren't, you know, we just sloppy. But fair play to the boys, even when they were probably playing at a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, they found a way to win. Fair play to Jed, the 2 penalties. And fair play to Fleetwood for trying to come and play. Mm-hmm. You know, not a lot of people try and do that. So I'm going to give them credit because they're fighting for their lives. But
especially when they went 1-0 up. Well, you go 1-0 up in the first. I mean, we had that with Forest Green. They scored in the first minute against us and we didn't even get the ball again.
Yeah, well, you're thinking as for Oxford, okay, and then you're thinking, okay, now the locals, the natives are going to get restless if we shit the bed against Fleetwood, and it's like you were meant to confirm playoffs. Lincoln suddenly score, and no longer it's like you need a point that, you know. Now you're thinking, oh, for fuck's sake! But I never thought like that. I just thought this isn't who we are. This is just energy sapping, and I just think we've had it. So then I look back and go, from Wembley to today, we've had 4 games, we've won 3. You know, we've scored, you know, goals, you know, we've won a cup. We lost a bad game against Oxford. You got to move on. And it's a long shot now. You know what I mean? I spoke to the manager afterwards and, you know, I think I did the permutations. I think Derby have to lose to Cambridge on Saturday.
Yeah.
Preferably 2 or 3-0. We have to win 4 or 5-0 away at Bristol. Mm-hmm. We then have to go and win 4 or 5 or 6-0 away at Cheltenham. Then you go into the final day, maybe level on goal difference, level on points with Derby. They're playing Carlisle
Yeah.
at home.
Yeah.
We're playing, Bolton at home. If you ever want to write long odds on something, it's like miracle time. I'm just like, so at that point, you're like, what do you do? So the manager, I don't know what he's going to do. Look, and again, I don't want headlines being on giving advice, whatever else. So I'm like, give players a chance to recuperate, get ready for the playoffs. See where Saturday takes us, and then maybe reassess after Saturday's result. And pretty much at 5 o'clock on Saturday, you kind of know, is there a small chance, is there a big chance, is there whatever. But we have a lot of bodies. We had some bad injuries on Tuesday night, as well, to some key players who we don't want to lose, and that's the wrong time for that to happen. But it's a squad game. Players came in and did well. Boy did great. Ricky came off the bench, got injured, but he helped set up the goal. Jono scored 2 goals, did what Jono does, prolific at League One level. He's a League One GOAT. So yeah, let's see where we are Saturday and go from there. But to hit the playoffs with 3 games to go, immensely, happy with that. And I think where people were thinking we were going to be in the summer, to go with the youngest team in our league and finish and get in the playoffs with 3 games to go and potentially finish 3rd or 4th and be home last in the playoffs. I think that massive credit to the manager, the staff, the players. They all had their awards night last night. That was a sold-out event. There's 23 awards. And also forgetting about Harrison Burrows, I think is the first left back ever voted as League One Player of the Year. And Ronnie won Young Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. So, and then 2 players in the Team of the Year. So to win the 2 biggest awards in our division, if you'd said to everyone in the summer, if you'd gone back to the summer and said to Posh fans, you're going to win a trophy at Wembley. Yeah. You're going to get in the playoffs with 3 games to go with an outside of automatic. You're going to have the youngest team in the league. You're going to have 2 of your players win the main awards in the League One event without it being a striker. And you're going to score 114 odd goals in the season, again, without a number 9 who's got 20 goals. Would you take it?
And at the start of the season, everyone was saying, "Oh, you're giving up on promotion this year. This is just going to be a consolidation year."
Yeah, and I think and that word is never used by me, nor would it ever be in whatever league we're in. So I think if you laid all that out and said, "Would you take all these things back in July when we were starting to sign players and we were starting to move on experienced players?" I think every fucking person, probably bar me and the manager, who'd be still ambitious to win a league title, would have turned around and gone, "Fucking, we'll take that all day long." So yeah, so it's not over yet. The story's not over yet. I think there's a long way to go. The key now is to get back to Wembley and see where that takes us. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. Yeah, definitely.
I just want to go back to Fleetwood just for a moment because I see that the calls for there's a lot of "I told you so" around Jonson Clarke-Harris playing. That even I've been getting and seeing from Posh fans, so I can't imagine what you've been getting about that. And full credit to him for scoring. He scored twice, didn't he?
He's the best goal scorer. He's the best goal scorer League One's ever produced, bar probably Billy Sharp. He's probably up there. And again, this is not personal. People have to understand it. I was getting it in the neck from fans. A couple of fans got a bit rude, and I had to block one of them who's just being an absolute obnoxious prick, who actually called me an arrogant wanker. I just think there's no need for that. And the night we've confirmed playoffs, to be insulting me, I've done nothing wrong. Let me explain this again to all of those in the back who weren't fucking listening. We had a plan in the summer to design a certain style of play. We were all part of it. Me, the manager, his coaches, and then Barry next to me, because we have to implement the recruitment to match the style we're going to play. Mm-hmm. We completely changed the way we played. Everything was based on two quarterbacks in our team. Left-sided centre half, inverted fullbacks, Harrison, and then Archie Collins. And then in front of that was all based on one key word for you: pace. And the idea between it was managing that. We would sell Clarke-Harris by the end of August. So the manager was like, to start with, we're going to play with Clarke-Harris as a target man. It's not going to let us fully be what we want to be, but it will make his departure easier. So he's still, because having a player like him not in the team can be very difficult. I'm not saying he's a difficult person, but it can create issues. So, and then we're going to eventually introduce Ricky into the team as the pivot to what we want to do, which is based on pressing from the front. And we have all the data. There is no better presser in the EFL than Ricky. And everyone can moan about his lack of goals and the chances he misses and the this. I can name 10 games we would not have got points in without the pressing data that he has. One of them would be Northampton at home. We won 5-1. And I'll hear people say, "What do you mean you wouldn't have won without Ricky in the team?" Watch the 90 minutes. If it wasn't for him and the pivot and the pressing with Randall behind him, we would never have scored the goals. And Northampton probably would have nicked that 1-0 or 1-1. Okay? Go back to Wickham at home 2-2. was when we made the decision finally, because Clarke-Harris was still with us after the Bristol Rovers palaver on deadline day, that we said, now we've got to be brave. We have to we have to turn the page.
Yeah.
We have to fully get behind what we said we'd do in the summer. I was walking outside my house on a long walk after Wickham made us look very normal. Manager was on the phone and I said, I don't care if you lose the next 10 games. Let's do what we said we were going to do in the summer. Let's base all of this basically on pace from the front. That means letting go of a double golden boot winner, goals and everything else. So we all agreed we did it. And then we went on an unbelievable run that took us basically on the cusp of top of the table of Christmas, where we had a game in hand in Portsmouth. And we basically, we had some rocky results then. And we had injuries and we lost 𝗂𝗁 and whatever else. So everything all the way up to now is based on that pivot of pace and pressing. John O, to be fair, is the best goal scorer in League One, but he can't press to save his life. With all due respect, he can't. It's not his game. It's not what he's designed to do. Coming on the other night, tired legs, need goal, brilliant. And he'll probably play this weekend. I'd say the manager's probably, going to put him in the team. That doesn't mean he's going to play playoffs, whatever else, but he'll go on the team. Now, if he goes and scores more goals and the manager decides he wants to do that, I'll fully back the manager. I don't pick the team. I don't pick whatever else. But we decided on an identity and we were never going to change the identity. And Ricky's flourished. And yes, Ricky could have 20 goals. Absolutely. He's got 12. He should have 20 to 25. He's 21. It's his first time in his career. He's playing as number 9 in our first team. Up until now, he's been playing wide left or wide right. He's never been playing down the middle. He's got a lot to learn. Even though he's 21, he's more like a 19-year-old in terms of playing in a first team for the 11. Yeah. Everything that you've got to teach him. But don't worry, Posh fans. If you don't want him here, I'll have clubs offering me millions for him. Already have for the summer, so people need to get off his back, because I hate to see the comments and stuff like that. It's a bit like those fans who were moaning about Harrison a few months ago on the sidelines of Darragh, and he's now just won the best player in League One. So, you've got a right to moan, but some of the stuff I see is just like, it's just over the top. So back to the Clarke-Harris debate and the Clarke-Harris argument is, I was very honest with our fans from day one. This is what we're doing and we're sticking to it. And we're still sticking to it. So you can moan and cry and you can keep going. I saw comments like, if he'd been in the team all season, we'd be top 2. You're forgetting points per games before when he was in the team, as opposed to since. And we were pretty much top 2 without him for a large part of the season. Various events took place, whether it was tiredness, fatigue, pitch problems, injury problems, that took us out of the top 2. Throwing top, maybe it's a young team. But we went to places like Derby on TV and won away with Ricky J. Jones in the team. We went to Blackpool away and won with Ricky J. Jones in the team. I can name a lot of places we travelled away to, top teams in the table, and got results because of the way we play. So that's what we're doing. It's not going to change. So people can moan all they want. I hope he finishes with a flourish. I hope he finishes with 10 goals in the next 4 or 5 games or whatever is left in our season. And it'll be the best goodbye to a legend for our club. I have no problems with him. People think there's a problem between me and him. He cost us, £1 million in transfers that didn't happen. I hold no malice. I have no issues. If I did, he wouldn't be in our squad. Yeah. At the end of the day, that's his choice. I can't force a footballer to move. I think it was the wrong decision. I think he won't earn as much as he was offered in January. That's football.
But he had a contract, and that's his prerogative to make that decision.
And we've stuck to that contract, and he's one of our highest paid players, and I've been happy to do that, even though we'd gone and signed other players and suddenly had to up our budget because we ended up with him in our contract, on our wage bill. But if he fires us to promotion, signs off, and goes to Turkey or somewhere on 15 grand a week, I'll be the first person to buy him the nicest gift he's ever seen. So he's been nothing but brilliant for our football club. And at the end of the day, this isn't a personal thing between me, him, whatever else. That's not the reason he hasn't been playing. You'd be blind if you haven't realised why he hasn't been playing. And people in the know, I even saw some people who I think have got quite a good grasp on football. Local journalists. There's one guy online who follows us, John, and even he started changing his mindset, which I was surprised at because he's seen the style of play and the evolution of the way we play. So we should play with Clarke-Harris, and I'm kind of shocked by that. No, we're sticking to what we're doing. And as we go into the next season, there won't be a target man in our football team. So, our game will be based on pace. Pace wins the race for us. It's what we want to do. The way we're set up, it's all about pace. And no matter who leaves, we sell, we keep, players we bring in will be quick. So, so that's that. That's the whole thing about Clarke-Harris. You can debate with me. You can argue with me. Don't get fucking personal. If you get personal, I'm going to come for you like there's no fucking tomorrow. And you're going to get buried on social media and blocked because I don't need to listen to your shite. But at the end of the day, this guy here, as Margaret Thatcher once said, is not for changing. So yeah, you know, it is the way it is. So yeah, so that's posh.
So I did have one question just about, you know, you talked about the odds of top two are extremely long. Yeah. So, you know, assuming therefore playoffs it is, does it matter where you finish in the spots?
Yeah, I think the last two playoff campaigns that we've lost, we ended up away last.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think the one time we went up under me was MK Dons home last, even though we lost the first leg away. And I just think when you play like Sheffield Wednesday last year, you've got the home crowd, you know, 15,000 sellout, and you get a decent result away from home. You'd like to think you can do the job and get to Wembley. Yeah. And then you get to Wembley, it doesn't matter who you're playing. You know, you know, it's one game. It's a game to go get promoted. We just need to get into the playoffs. We need to get fit, healthy. We need to get fatigue out of our system, and we need to be ready. And our strongest 11 needs to be on the pitch, and we need to be together, and we need to give it our best shot. You know, and see where it takes us. And I don't care about mistakes. I said this before the cup final. I don't care. I'm not calling out anyone for mistakes. We want our people to be brave, and that goes right through the club. And everyone goes on about, I have this like thing about experience. No, it's called being efficient as a club our size. The only way we can do the building we want to do is by covering this.
Right.
Yeah. It's not based on having 30-year-old players in our team. We'll have the odd one like we've done with the goalkeeper. You know, we've had Clarke-Harris who's on a contract. You know, I'm not against having one of them in our team or our squad, but most of our signings and recruitment will be under 25. It's what we're doing, and it's what our coaches are set up to do. So that won't change, and we've already got recruitment plans for the summer.
And the trick as well that you've been, well, one blessed with Harrison coming through, but also is having young leaders. You know, you can look at youth and say, well, youth needs somebody that's, you know, more experienced to lead them, but you've actually got a lot of leaders within that young squad.
100%, and don't understate Josh Knight's role, who's 25 or 26, who's been absolutely fucking monumental for us, because I was listening to the EFL Awards and the interviews with Harrison and Efron and everyone else, and I spoke to all three lads in the car. The manager had them in his car on the way home from the awards afterwards. He was the only loser. They all won awards, and he obviously lost Manager of the Year, which, you know, big congratulations to Portsmouth, by the way. Yeah, because John Messina is a lovely guy, the job. And fair play to the owners of Portsmouth, the staff. I wanted to tweet about it the other night, but I was already getting a bit of flack from posh fans. I was just like, you know, what Portsmouth have done all season, they are worthy champions. They've been the best team in League One since day one, because they've stayed there all season. And I have to say, even when they wobbled, they came back. So massive congratulations to everyone involved with Portsmouth. But going back to what you're saying there, you know, Harrison and Ronnie are best friends. They play on the same side. Efron's in front of them. We wanted to build a cohesion with a young group. And most of those guys are fucking close. They are close. The only ones are probably Jed and Jono are probably close because of their age. Yep. I'm not saying they're not close to the rest of the squad, but, you know, you got obviously Archie lives with Joel, you know, Ricky, Kwame, you know, players like that, they're all best friends, you know, so they are a close group. And that kind of closeness will get them through the good, the tough, the great. You know, and they just care about the football club. They're all good lads. They're all honest. You know, even Jadel come in from Man City. He's not acting like a Man City player now. You know, 7-8 months into the season, he's like a Peterborough lad. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm excited. I think we got Denelli who could make his league debut this weekend, you know, or Tuesday night or whatever else. And I'm excited to see what JD can do it right back. We got Harley Mills, who's a future left back for us as well, when I sell H for many millions to the Premier League. And then we got obviously Pemi, who's the leading goal scorer on the 21s. And behind him, we got a player called Donne, who's going to like really, really impress fans, who plays as a 10. So we got the next batch. And then we had a 16-year-old make his debut for the 21s the other day. Everyone's dicks were rock hard ringing me, because I knew about this kid anyway. He was on our green list from our academy. There's like 3 of them in our 16s who are basically, one player in particular has got 38 Premier League clubs at every 16s game. And we're already like tying him down. Yeah. But we got a 16-year-old, the manager was speaking today about, and he's like, this kid the other day, unbelievable, you know, like left side. And, you know, so we've got some talent coming through again. And obviously I'll get the checkbook out in the summer to bring in some more talent in there to, you know, because obviously we're going to lose players potentially.
Yeah, the conveyor belt will continue.
Yeah, correct. You know what I mean? So, but no, it's like, we've come so far since last year, you know, and I said it during Wembley, it's the best thing that ever happened to us was losing against Sheffield Wednesday. We would have gone to the champ. We would have had 8 players who couldn't play in that league, who would have been on 7-8 grand a week with their contracts over the age of like 28, 29. It would have been a fucking disaster trying to move them on in the summer. I just think what's happened in the reset and what we've done. So I don't want to fall out with posh fans. I don't want posh fans all losing faith. Let's just get behind it. Let's just enjoy it. Let's just see where it takes us. We could end up having to play at Bolton and Oxford, a big club in like the playoffs. You know what?
No easy game.
Way of playing. There's no easy games. I fancy us against anybody. What will be. We want to win promotion. We want to cap it all off as a top season. But football doesn't always work out that way. But one thing's for sure, we're going to all be together on what we want to do and the plan. Win, lose, or draw. This is who we are now. This is the flag in the sand, and this is the way we grow the club. And there's going to be a lot of good things happening on and off the field over the next kind of couple of years. So it's all good.
Oh, just one other thing you mentioned about the EFL awards earlier. So I just thought it'd be remiss not to bring up Sammie Szmodics as well. Not quite getting the championship, much to the derision of fans across the championship.
We had 100 grand.
Yeah.
In his transfer agreement, and I could not believe. I was talking to all our players, and when Barry kept texting me the results, and Barry's words like, "How the fuck he didn't win? How can you not give a player who's not a striker, who's playing in a team that struggled in the bottom six all season, who scored 30 fucking goals in the season, including 23 or 24 in the league itself, and you give it like I'm a Leeds fan. Everyone knows that. I thought Leeds were going to win the league. I was very, very positive about them. But you cannot give that award to anyone else but Sammie Szmodics. I don't know who was doing the voting on that, but he has been absolutely robbed by the people who voted, because I don't think you'll ever see a player from a team struggling have a season like he's had. Hopefully the payoff is he goes for fucking, big money in the summer, because at his age now, he's coming into his prime. He deserved, Blackburn fans don't get angry with me, he deserves his chance. And also sell on will help as well.
Now, and I've been seeing people throwing around numbers. I was going to tag you and get your opinion on that of his value, but
I think anywhere from, he's 28 now, so if he was 22, you'd be talking 25 million.
Yeah,
I think at his age, and I'm not teaching Blackburn how to suck eggs. If you're asking me for my independent valuation, I think anywhere from 11 to 14 million.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're buying a player that's coming into his prime. He can now step up to the Premier League and he's going to score goals for fun. Yeah. So, he's that good a player now. So he's destined now to finally get his chance in the Premier League.
Now, with the best will in the world, when you put that deal together and you put that 100 grand in for Player of the Year, there's probably, there's not necessarily an expectation that you would, that would come to fruition. When you put all these clauses in, are you just kind of, okay, I'm going to chance my arm and put 10 different things in, and maybe one's going to come off and everyone thinks they're unlikely, so they're going to sign off on it?
We do goals, we do appearances, we do international caps. We have 100 grand on Sammie playing for Ireland competitively. He made his debut in a fucking friendly. So we could have cleared 200 grand if he played in the competitive, but he was injured. He pulled out, and the previous Irish manager was fucking stupid, never played him. You always put those kind of clauses in, and some are big, some are small. With Brentford, we had $1 million for Ivan going up and winning promotion. With the Coventry deal, we've got some massive clauses in based on Coventry's success for Ephron. With Jack Taylor, we took more up front and, probably a smaller amount for promotion based on games. If Jack had played all the games and Ipswich went up, we would have got, I think, 500, 600, 700 grand because of the pro rata amount of games he hasn't started. It's probably more like the 200 grand level. So it's not life-changing money. But you start adding that up and you throw in Sammie and all that kind of stuff. And then you throw in, I think we got 25 grand from Mansfield for Chrissy Pym getting promoted. It's always your way of recouping money or making money. And you throw those, and we always make those offers. When we put in a sales agreement or transfer agreement, I put in so many incentives like Exeter. It's not just $1 million for Joe Randall. It's money on games. It's money on promotion. Same with Clarke-Harris when we bought it from Bristol Rovers. We put in so many clauses. So when a team goes, well, that's not enough, I'll always say, but we're giving you this, this, this. And some teams will go, yeah, but that's what's the likelihood you're going to pay us those? And I go, well, actually, based on history, we've ended up paying a lot of add-ons because I believe in the pyramid and making sure that teams do well if you do well. So, by the way, I just want to say I congratulated Portsmouth. I want to congratulate Mansfield because the Radfords, as owners, Barry's told me their personal heartbreak of last season, the season before, Wembley, playoffs, for them to win promotion in a season with the size of the clubs financially and the money they've spent out of League Two, I think Nigel Clough is manager of the year in that league. I know, the Stockport manager should get all the accolades and whatever, but, Mansfield, I know people say their owners are rich, but I know what they pay. They don't pay as much as Wrexham and Stockport. And for the Radfords to do what they did, I think massive congratulations, because they've had so many near misses that they were finally deserving of that promotion. And a couple of games ago, I was panicking for them because at one stage, I think they lost their drew a home game and they slipped down. MK Dons were in there. So for them to get the results, well done to Nigel, well done to Caroline and John. Fucking brilliant job from everyone at Mansfield. Delighted for them.
Yeah, Nigel did get Manager of the Year at the EFL Awards. So
he deserved it. He fucking deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, they've stuck with him, but he's stuck with them as well, because I'm sure he'd have bigger opportunities that's come along.
Baz and me spoke to him last year. The disappointment in the Radfords were like, I think they went off to their holiday home thinking about, like, can't take more heartbreak. They're probably at some point thinking, want to jack this in. I'm talking for them. I'm not saying they're thinking that, but when you've had that many heartbreaks, football's such a cruel game, as we saw with Sheffield Wednesday last year, that it hurts you. And I've always said, like, good owners are hard to find, and couples that are owners like them is lovely to see, because you've obviously got you got mega owners with wealth who are buying their way out of leagues, and that's not a dig at Wrexham or anyone else, because a long time ago at Peterborough, we were buying a lot of non-league players. We weren't paying massive wages like Wrexham, but we were kind of like, they were calling me the lower league of Bramvich when I first came into Peterborough. So I would never ever have a dig at Wrexham about spending money. At the end of the day, I said to my wife 2 years ago, and she was laughing at me, Wrexham will be in the Championship in the next 4 or 5 years. And I'm been proved right. Exactly what Wrexham are doing. So, Stockport, again, fair play to them, because they've come from so far down, they dropped. When Jim Gannon was back there twice. And I know their owner has fucking spent a lot of money. So, but again, they had heartbreak last year in the playoffs. So, football works in a funny way, doesn't it? It's, so yeah, without people accuse me of being bitter, congrats to everybody that's winning like their promotions. Do you know what I mean? But I was very happy for Portsmouth. I was very happy for Mansfield.
Yeah. And, for us,
onto the mighty Banthams.
It's petering out. I mean, there is still
you're winning again.
It's such a streaky team, winning 5, losing 5, winning 5, we're on a winning run again, probably when it's too late. And I think when all is said and done, we'll probably miss by 2 points. And you look at that game or that game.
Forest Green. Yeah. Well, we look at Carlisle. Good Friday, bottom of the table. They haven't won away since the old king died. And fucking they come and batter us at our place. And you're thinking, if we end up missing out an automatic promotion by 3 points, 2 points, we've dropped 4 points to Carlisle. So you look at Forest Green at home. I think you lost them, didn't you?
We did. We lost. And we had that 3 games where we conceded, I don't know, was it 13 or 14 in 3 games? And that will be the defining moment of the season in the end. So we beat Gillingham 1-0. We beat Salford away 2-1. We've got Walsall away, Barrow away, and Newport at home. So Walsall away and Barrow away are going to be, well, I mean, like we say, every game is tough, but Walsall and Barrow still got something to fight for as well. So we'll see.
And then you got Grant McCann fucking absolutely flying up that table. I mean, flying up that table. Jesus Christ! I mean,
I roll my eyes a little bit here, but.
There's always one club that comes from nowhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talked. It was probably only a month ago, 5 weeks ago, when we were looking at that table and said, "Okay, there's 3 points, between 6th and 19th. So who's going to be the one that takes it?" And Grant McCann, Doncaster have been the one that takes it. And once you got that momentum,
they'll win if they get in the playoffs. You fancy them to win, and obviously, I'm not. We don't get on like a house on fire anymore or whatever else, and I've no time for his number 2. But I've got to give him massive credit for what he's done there. To come from, there were times when I thought it's got to be only a matter of time before Donny pulled the trigger and get rid of him.
Me too.
And maybe, I don't know, at the time they couldn't afford to, but whatever, they've stuck with him. They've allowed him to get to January to recruit. He's recruited very well in January, and the run they're on, you would have to fancy Doncaster to basically win those playoffs. I mean, you wouldn't want to be one of the clubs that are 4th or 5th or 6th. Or no, 4th, 5th, or 6th, and then suddenly you're meeting a steam train like Doncaster.
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah, you got to stop that momentum. And
so credit to Grant McCann.
And so for us, I think that the season, we start planning ahead again for the season. Season ticket sales have been, I think we're past 10, 11,000 at this point.
Incredible. Your fans are incredible. Your fans are incredible.
Yeah, and that's we put the prices up 25% as well. So
honestly,
on a revenue,
they're like a beaten dog that keeps coming back for more dinner. When you know, it's incredible, really.
When you think that's it, that's the straw that broke the camel's back, and then we're back again. Yeah. What was
the only good news is, here's the good news: those top teams, Stockport and Wrexham, aren't in your league next year. Yeah. You have to be favourites for top 3, right? Sorry, and I stopped you talking there. What were you going to say?
When you think about budgets next year, like who's going to be the top spenders? And Chesterfield are going to come in and spend a pretty penny, but they're not going to spend Stockport money. They're not going to spend Wrexham money. They're not going to spend Notts County money.
No.
They'll spend playoff money.
Carlisle will spend money on transfer fees, not on big wages. So they'll be a danger next year in League 2. The other clubs coming down from League 1, I'm not sure they're going to be anywhere near competitive like Bradford.
Right.
So you have to be one of the top 3 clubs favoured to win that league next year.
If we play our cards right and do good business, but you got to look at it and think that this was an exceptionally hard League 2, given the money that was spent. Next season, you think the pendulum swings a little bit the other way, where the opportunity is there.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you do things right now and you got David Sharp in and whatever, and obviously he's taking a bit of credit for the Mansfield stuff, rightly so, because he helped build some of the team. If your owner now is going to be true to his word and what he said in his statement, you get the right recruitment. If I was a gambling man and I was allowed to bet, I'd easily put 2 or 3 grand right now. And you probably get, I don't know, what odds would you get? 7s, 8s, 9s to 1 on Bradford going up next year?
Yeah, it's the odds will always shorten when you get to the start of the season again, because at the start of the season, everyone forgets the crap that went before and just looks, Bradford are a big club. They should be getting out of there.
Correct. 100%. So how confident do you feel right now?
I think that I'm much more confident than I was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think that the commitments that Stefan has made, or his accountability, he's put his accountability on the line in terms of spending commitments, budget commitments, coupled with the strength of the league next season. We have to have the expectation that we should finish top 3.
Mate, if you don't have the expectation you're finishing top 3 next year, I mean, hand the keys over and move on. I'm sorry, this will be one of the open League 2s. If MK Dons are still in the league, it depends who goes up. If MK Dons go up, there is a wide open pathway for Bradford to win promotion by March.
Yeah. So
with the size of your club, by March. And, I would say anybody at the wheel who can't get a club like Bradford with Stockport, Wrexham, MK Dons gone, clubs like that out of that league and what's coming down and what's coming up. If you can't steer Bradford to automatic promotion by the end of next season, you've got no right to be in the game, in my opinion. And that's putting pressure on. I know it is, but I'm sorry. At some stage, you have to own the pressure of having a club that size. And you have to say, fuck me, this is the year where I've got to do it.
Yeah. It's been really interesting. I was looking at our hearing on one of the Bradford City podcasts called 𝗛𝗿𝗱 𝗧𝗿𝗂𝘁𝗵. They were going through some of the possession stats and this season. And I really was interested in your opinion. Now, I should have written this down specifically what they said. So I kind of paraphrase where we were. But essentially, we have played the same number of games where we've had less than 50% possession than we've had with more than 50% possession. We basically won 2 of the games where we've had 50% possession or more, and won 14 games where we've had less than 50% possession. Like, what does that say to you in terms of, is that just the way we've set up that leads that, or is there problems that just come straight from that data?
It says that you're pretty much a counter-attacking team. It says that your game isn't based on possession. It's based on balls in the box. It's based on, having an Andy Cook in your team. Yeah. It's completely different. If you looked at us probably when we won promotion, it was all based on a target man. Our possession stats were anywhere from 49 to 51%. Now our possession's based on 60 to 65%. It's a different way of playing. It's a style. You don't obviously progressively build from the back. To have that low kind of possession, there isn't as much building from the back as it could be, or if it is, it's quick. It's take the ball from the back and go forward quick. Yeah, it's not slow progressive building.
See if it sticks.
Right. So you can tell straight away. For example, if you look at the progressive stats on us, you'll see we're probably the furthest back from building going forward. So it just depends on how you are then in the final third. Like we've scored 114 goals, but the XGs probably we should have scored 130 goals. Do you know what I mean? So, but we're creating a lot of chances, but it's sometimes a slow build up, and our fans can say, well, it's ponderous, but it's not. It's designed inverted wise to bring people to you, beat the press, play through it, and then with pace go. So whereas Bradford's more long diagonals, balls into the box, target man, maybe. I don't watch them enough to give this assumption. Fair. But going on the statistics, yes, it would be that way inclined.
And we've scored 52 goals this season in the league. I think
that's not enough.
Lowest,
that's not enough. Yeah, so and that also means you're not creating enough chances. So to win promotion from any league, you have to average, I think, between 15 and 17 shots a game, and you have to have on average, I think, between 7 to 8 shots on target a game.
Okay.
If you do that, 92% of the time you'll win promotion.
Interesting. So you have to from there.
Yeah, we've always done that based on do you play with 2 up front, do you play with 1? How do you get those shots? How do you get into those metrics? So where we probably aren't as good as is the shots on target converted.
Yeah.
So, but creating chances for fun, we probably create more chances. We probably created 3 times the amount of chances Bradford have this year.
Probably.
So yeah, everything's like that. So that's where your data can play a significant part. You know what I mean? So like I said, it all depends on what your manager, the new recruitment chief, if your frame of mind is, we've won a few games, we fell short by 2 points, we'll just go again. That's the wrong mindset. The mindset has to be ripped up. You cannot base it on the recent wins. You can't base anything on when your players aren't under any pressure and they start winning games. Oh, great. That we've fallen into that trap before. Yeah. It's the worst thing to do. Yeah. The worst thing to do is, I remember we finished seasons, we won the last 3 games 5-0 and 4-0. And you're thinking, fucking, we're going to be. Worst thing to do. Look deeper, look into why. When you start playing games at the end of seasons, there's nothing on the line. That result is irrelevant. Yeah. It's fucking irrelevant. The other team have nothing on the line. You have nothing on the line. It's fucking irrelevant. The relevance is in the games that matter. Games that matter are all the ones that are relevant. So that's key to everything. So yeah, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
So let me ask one last question, then we can move on. So we've got, I think, 14 contracted players for next season. And I'm sure there are a number of those players that we don't want. How does that, is there a market for players when you've had this situation where you've got players on the books, you want to move them on? How easy is it to move them on? Do you end up having to eat salary? Do you end up having to get stuck with players sometimes? Or how does it kind of work to move those on when if you don't want them, why should anybody else want them?
We had it last summer where we had a lot of experienced players on big wages. We had players who I like, Frankie Kent, players like that. Luckily we had markets for them. Scotland for Frankie. Yeah. We'd Stevenage took 3 big hitters off our wage bill, which was great. We sold some, we released some to Stevenage on freeze. We didn't have to pay any checks. Sometimes you have to write a check, like I did it with Beavers a couple of years ago. For him to go to Australia, I had to make up a shortfall. It was the only way he'd leave. Otherwise, you've got them still in your squad. You can get caught with things like that sometimes. So I think you have to be good at what you do. You have to be able to move people on. It depends on what wages your players are on. If you've got a load of those 14 contracted players, say 7 of them you want out, but they're on 3 or 4 grand a week, in League 2, finding clubs to take them is a fucking nightmare.
I'd say you're probably 1,500 to 2,500.
Yeah, then you shouldn't have a big drama moving them on, and that shouldn't be a problem. And you get to work on that now. Yeah. If I'm Bradford, I'm designing a list now. I'm sending it out to teams for the last game of the season. Come and look at some of our players. Start having those conversations with players now. We're going to give you a chance to shine, to move on in the summer. Just be honest with players about it. So a lot of it starts now. I've got 2 recruitment plans always on my desk. I'm working on every day. Plan A, Plan B. And it's like that every single season, preferably Plan A. Sometimes it ends up with Plan B. That's just the way it goes. So I'd be amazed if you haven't drawn up a list. Teams like Portsmouth, it's great because they finished so early. I'm sure their boss now, is getting to work on trying to work on deals to be early to the party. And a club that size with the wages they'll be able to pay, they'll be able to sign players in the Champ as they're a big club. We struggled when we went to the Champ. The players didn't want to come to us because they didn't want we'll be in a relegation battle. I'd like to think now if we go up, because of the way we play and the style, the players will be more open to coming to us. Do you know what I mean? So
you were getting players rather staying in League 1, weren't you, than coming to the Championship when you got promoted?
No word of a lie. Yeah, no word of a lie. We would have if we'd have been a League 1 top club like we are now, we'd have easily signed those players.
Yeah,
and 2 or 3 of them said no. Because we were in the Champ and we're going to struggle. Yeah. So straight off the bat, we struggled with that really early on. And people were like, spend the money, do this. we couldn't spend the money at some of them. Like, couldn't. They weren't taking the money. They were like fucking, just like, you know, just like you get some players, and that's the mentality of players as well. So I think this time it'll be different. You know what I mean? Because, you know, we got relationship with clubs like Man City now. You know, we have young players. Our players are winning awards. Our players are moving for millions again. We're in the spotlight. The style of play. I think it will be easier to tempt those players from the top of League One to the champ on a journey that they, you know, could be special. So, you know, God willing, that all goes to plan. So, yeah, anyway, enough about Bradford and Peterborough. Let's talk Civil War.
Let's talk the FA Cup. So, as we all know, FA came out today without any consultation with anybody except for themselves, it seems, to scrap all replays from the first round onwards.
Yeah, and I've been at graduation events, and I got another one after this, so I've been in between. So apologies to Sky, Talk Sport, and everyone else who's wanted me on to do a bit on it. So, caught me cold today. I think it caught the EFL cold. I think it's a preemptive strike from the big boys over the recent deal talks that broke down, and the fact that a regulator is potentially coming in that they don't want, and the EFL are behind it. Not behind it, but supporting it. Right. And I think this is their way of saying, like, back in your fucking box. This is what we're doing. We've always known they wanted to do away with certain things in the FA Cup. I think there were discussions quite a while ago as part of the new deal that, look, if we do this new deal, you're going to have to give up something in the FA Cup. You might have to give up something in the League Cup. And, you know, and we thought, obviously, okay, when are we going back to the table to talk more?
See
and
what the value of that is, so we can consider it.
Yeah, I think they've walked away from talks to the Premier League and gone, well, you know what, we'll just play this out, because the longer it plays out, we don't have to write any checks right now. So a lot of clubs were relying on a little chunk of money right now from that deal happening. That's not happened. So everyone's had to readjust their expectations. Now we're getting further away because of that move, where they've just basically gone, bang, fuck, you know, your lower league clubs. What does it matter to top clubs in the Premier League what happens in round 1, 2, or 3? Well, round 1 and 2. What does it matter? Like, how does it affect the Premier League? Peterborough playing Bradford in a replay, where we both get replay 40 grand TV money.
Yeah.
Why does that matter to Man United? Why does that matter to Chelsea? Why does it matter to Liverpool? It matters to Bradford. It matters to Peterborough. And I'm talking about a few years ago. We played a replay. Was it a replay or we played a game? And
it was replay. It was like 4-0 or something like that.
Yeah, and we were on TV, weren't we? And you know, and we got Tranmere on TV, and we got 40 grand or 30 grand. And, you know, you get highlights money. That money is important. When you're losing millions every year, every 30, 40, 50 grand helps. So if you're a non-league team and you go to a Bradford and you get a 0-0 and bring them back to their place, it's going to be on TV. It's like, they don't care. They don't care. And the worst part is there's 20 Premier League clubs. 6 of them really are the only ones that matter to themselves. And the other 14 who vote and are happy to go along with the EFL being put to the side. Here's some reality for you 14 clubs. The 6 guys next to you don't give a shit about you. No. And given the fucking choice that have gone to a Super League and wouldn't have even looked back at you. So stop trying to pretend.
You'll be in the Football League one day yourself, probably.
Stop trying to pretend you all sit at the same table. Because that table of 20, it's a load of bullshit based on fucking the facade. There's only really 6, 7 of them maximum that matter. And they don't really give a shit about the rest of you. So you might want to play like you're all together, but they would turn around and go bang in a second if they could. Do you know what I mean? So I think now's the time, like, you know, where do we go from here? People are talking about boycotting the FA Cup. That's one way of doing it. We could all boycott. You need to get all 72 to buy in. You need every non-league club to buy in. And I'm not sure clubs can afford a non-league and lower leagues to buy in, where they rely on that 50 to 100 grand extra money you get when you do okay in those cup rounds. So, you know, we need to come up with some ideas. We need to show a strength in our response. No more licking dingleberries. No more like fucking, you know, playing. You know, we need a response, and we need a. I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I'd like the PFA, who notoriously aren't easy to get to the table to do deals like salary caps. I'd like the PFA to reach out to all EFL players that came through the EFL that are now playing in the Premier League. I include Jude Bellingham and Real Madrid here, by the way. I'd like them to reach out to all of them to come out and talk about this over the next 7-8 days. I'd like all of those top players, Harry Kane, all of them, to come out and go.
Talk about the cup and
to come out and go, we don't agree with this.
Yeah.
We think it's wrong. I even think players in the Premier League right now who played in the EFL, even if it upsets their paymasters, they're not going to have their contracts cancelled. They're not going to go on a transfer list. You're already getting your 50 to 100 grand a week. Come out and tell the fucking truth. This was really important wherever you played in the EFL at the club you were at. Come out and fucking say it, and come out and join us. Come out and say, we're with the EFL. We don't agree. with this move.
Mm-hmm.
And as for the FA, with all due respect to the FA, and they can try and come for me over this, the FA let men play in women's sports. I said this to you before we went on air, and as a Democrat over here in America, you might probably agree with that. But I'm absolutely against men playing in women's sports. I don't care how they identify. It doesn't make me a transphobe. I have 2 daughters. Every time I have this argument with people, anyone who disagrees with me usually doesn't have children. They certainly don't have daughters, and if they do, they should be ashamed of themselves. But I believe people who were born as men and who identify as women can still play in women's football. And the FA are the ones who are allowing that to carry on. So my advice to the FA is stop the nonsense. Yeah. Stop trying to play all sides and, whatever else, and fill your quotas and try and be all woke and politically correct and whatever else. Do your fucking jobs. Do your jobs. All right. Start with sorting this nonsense out with the FA Cup and finish with sorting it out so men can't be in women's sports. So there you go. You've heard it from me. Come at me over it all you want.
So what should the EFL do today then?
Well, I've already messaged Rick Parry. I'm waiting to speak and hear more because I think we've been caught cold with this today. I think there's an emergency board meeting that's been going on for the last 2.5 hours. Mm-hmm. I've stopped talking. I don't want to talk to the media or press because I want to know more of the EFL. What's our plan of action? I think we all have to come together. Be interesting to see what the response to the emergency meeting is. And we need our people in charge, the Rick Parrys and Trevor Birches. I've seen the statements. I agree with them. But what we need now is a course of action and advice from them on where we go next with this. But what we do need is we need the fan base. We need everybody involved, including all the Premier League big clubs fans. We need them with us on this. Yeah, this is where we need them with us on this. I understand I support Liverpool, but I don't want to support Liverpool at the detriment to a Barnet, to a Forest Green, to a Peterborough, to a lower league team. I love the pyramid. I love the family, but a family can only work if they're in it together and there's no abuse going on inside of a family. And I hate using words like civil war, abuse, things like that, because real stuff goes on in real day-to-day life. But there are so many livelihoods. There are so many people involved within our industry that depend on this all working properly and cohesively. And we've seen too many clubs fail recently. We've seen too many clubs get in trouble. I don't know what the big boys are trying to do here. I don't think they'll win. I think eventually, like what happened with the Super League, I think they end up they gorge and they fill their bellies too much and they get themselves in trouble and they have some short-sightedness. And what I'd really love is you get a lot of American owners like a Todd Bowley or people like that who get criticized coming into football. This would be a great opportunity for a Todd Bowley to come out and go, you know what? I disagree with this. Yeah. Chelsea stand with the EFL. Yeah. I would love that. This is a chance for one of those big club owners who've been getting a lot of flack to come out and go, you know what? Yeah, we're in this for a few dollars and to do whatever else. But actually, this goes against the principle of what the foundation of the Football League, the Premier League, and everything in unison. And Chelsea or another club completely are against this. And we completely stand with the EFL. Bang. I think that would be.
Doesn't this just accelerate a regulator?
Yeah, but, if you're relying on governments to work at any kind of pace, if you're relying on any change to happen, I think with the Premier League, they're looking at it now and think, okay, the regulator's coming, but we're going to slow roll that.
We can while we can.
And then, you know what, we don't have to pay anything until then. And then the regulator's going to come in and they're going to do this and do that, whatever. And then we'll challenge it legally. We'll go to court. We'll dry it out. We'll bang it down the line. So I'm not sure. Everyone thinks this regulator's going to save the day. I'm just not sure that, when I watch governments struggle to protect their own borders and they keep getting overturned by lawyers in courtrooms that have nothing to do with government itself, the same thing will probably happen when it comes to a sports situation whereby big clubs with big lawyers will be able to go to court, stop anything potentially a regulator would do, and drag this out right down the line. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things I say people won't agree with, but I'm going to stick that that's my opinion.
Well, let's move on to we've got a few more minutes, a couple of other topics. It's front of mind because I watched the game yesterday, the Manchester City Real Madrid.
I did too.
Game. And
I couldn't believe how Real Madrid play.
No.
I've always loved watching Real Madrid. Did you enjoy watching the way they played?
It was one of those where they came for the penalties, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know how long Carlo will. They obviously love Carlo Ancelotti. Don Carlo. They should win the league. They could win. I actually want PSG to win the Champions League now. But I didn't like the way they played. I think with the players they have, I doubt some of them really want to play that way. It'd be interesting when Alonso goes in there in a year. You know, what he could do with some of those young players. I think they've got the older guard now are going to be moving on this summer. Man City dominated them. They just couldn't hit a barn door. Yeah. I thought Man City dominated them, absolutely dominated them. It was almost, I said to my missus, it was like watching a Premier League club play a League One club from a like sit in, try and like get that goal, try and like just break on the attack, get it forward to Vinicius or whoever else, and try and break on them. I was amazed the great Real Madrid, the Galacticos from the past, you know, and all that played that way. But I guess it's working for them. If he wins some trophies, they'll be happy with that. But if I'm, you know, a fan of the biggest club in the world with their money and their resources, and that's how they play, you know, I thought Man City were superior from them, you know, throughout that game. And I was gutted for Man City, if I'm honest. Yeah. I was gutted for Liverpool because you want Man City and Arsenal distracted and still playing. And English clubs, our big boys who have done that today in the FA Cup, have shit the bed in Europe and have not been good, including Liverpool, and they're playing this afternoon or whatever else. We've not been good in the late stages, and now we're not going to get that extra 5th Champions League spot because of it. So,
and domestically, Arsenal and Liverpool both conspired to basically hand the title to Man City last weekend.
Yeah, I said this all along. So, you know, Man City will win. As a Liverpool fan, we run out of steam. You know, all our deficiencies are catching up with us. You know, our attacking options who aren't as good as people think.
Injuries.
You know, injuries are finishing. You know, we can't keep clean sheets. I said this all along, particularly at Anfield. To lose to Palace, fair play to Palace, but the chances we missed again, you know what I mean? You're just like Salah. I'll tell you right now, it's good that they didn't give him a new deal again because he's got a year and a half left. And I'm just looking at him since his injury in January. And you're like, I'd want to see him next season before I try and commit to another new deal at his age. Because players at that level, they do. You look at Mane when he left. You look at Fabinho. These players, they drop off quickly. You get to a certain age, they drop.
If another offer comes from Saudi this window,
take it all day long. Liverpool, whereas we were worried about midfield in the summer, I would be worried about defense and attack for next summer because they just, with a new manager, he's going to need better from their forwards. And if you haven't got Salah's 25, 30 goals, as much as I'm a Nunez fan, you know, he's year 2 now. If he doesn't kick on in year 3, you're kind of like, so yeah, Liverpool, they got work to do. And it would be a real shame for the season to end with just a League Cup after having so much promise. But fair play to Jurgen. Regards to Arsenal, tall order. Villa did a job on them. They could take it to the last day. I'm not sure about Liverpool taking it to the last day. So we'll see. Championship, go Ipswich. A couple of $100,000 will be handy. You know, Leeds have kind of fallen away as regards to not where they are on the table, but just performances recently. So they need a bit of re-energizing for Saturday. That's it.
Ipswich and Leicester's to win at the bottom. Rotherham, who now have a new manager, and Steve Evans going back to Rotherham.
Baz rang me yesterday, but Stevie Boy rang him to tell him the news. And I was like, fair play to Stevie Boy. He what he does is he goes to Stevenage, does a magnificent job, and he gets a payday off it, and rightly so. He was up for Manager of the Year the other day. I know he always got on really well with Tony Stewart. He always, when he was my man, he told me fond stories of him and Tony. He's very close to the people higher up in Rotherham. I actually think it's a very, 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 very prudent move by Rotherham. And I think it'll give their owner a lot of joy because he has such a good relationship with Steve. And, you know, Steve is, I was saying to the gaffer earlier, he gets himself paid. And rightly so for the work he does. He'll drop down to come back up. Like I said to you guys at Bradford, golden opportunity for you guys. You should have got him before Stevenage did. Because right now, Bradford would probably be 17th in the championship.
Well, he's got himself another 18 months, you know, at least. You know, that Rotherham team are going to be strong again, I'm sure, when they come back.
Absolutely. They're always like, listen, by the way, any of the clubs coming down, you know, Birmingham seemed to have won a big game the other day, but, you know, Huddersfield, Birmingham, Stoke, I mean, there could be some massive clubs coming down again. And fuck me, we might end up being left with a Bolton or a Derby. So, you know, if we're in League One, you know, touch wood or not, that's the power of League One. You know, you guys think you're struggling, you know, in League Two to get out of there with a fucking Stockport or Wrexham. We've got clubs like fucking Portsmouth and Derby and Sheffield Wednesday, sometimes Leeds. We fought some fucking massive clubs. You know, so yeah, it's everyone's got their own problems, right?
Well, one team with problems, and to kind of finish off today, it's not often that there's a collective happiness when a team gets relegated out of the Football League, but Forest Green finally went down, and certainly in the League Two, there was a lot of kind of good riddance to that. For I think it's not the best of away days for fans from what I've been seeing. I think it's going to be interesting how they rebuild.
I disagree. Somebody said to me the other day, "Oh, that clown Dale Vince, he's always having a go at you and blah 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 and talk sport, and you must be delighted." I'm never delighted at any club, even our biggest enemies. I hate clubs that get relegated. I've been through it all. You know, regardless what I think of him as a fucking person. You know, I think about the staff. I think about the people at the top. I think about the fan base. You know, I am amazed that a guy that rich, you know, hasn't put more money in, regardless when they were in the league. But that's his prerogative. So they'll be strong in non-league. I'm sure they won't be there for long.
Yeah, you got to think something went wrong. Something was some assumptions, or some, you know, the assumption that it can't get that bad, and it just kind of got left to get that bad. So
happens.
Relegation will waken some, probably waken him up, probably make him more determined to put that right.
It depends. You know, they pay their bills. He's an owner that's a good owner from that perspective. Me and him don't get on. But again, I'm not going to celebrate them going down. And then maybe it's not a popular place to visit because of the veggie burgers or whatever else, or the stuff you got to do. You know, again, it's his club. It's his prerogative. I'm never going to agree with that. He's not my type of person. I'm not his type of person. So I would wish them well. And I think they'll be one of the favourites next year with your South Ends out there to, win promotion. My advice to him would be pick up the phone and try and buy one of the strikers I've got to sell that's, very prolific in non-league. So it might help you. And maybe we can break bread after you, furnish my pockets with a few $100,000.
And get you a nice promotion bonus.
There you go. So,
all right. Well, let's call it a day there. Appreciate your time as ever.
Always.
And thank you everybody else for listening. I know we got some questions that keep getting stacked up, but please feel free to keep them coming. And as time allows over the rest of the season, I will pose them to Darragh. So until next time,
all the best, guys.
Cheers. Take care.